no matter how much time and effort I put into making a new video, I always get the same comments asking me for more fascinating Pokemon theories, so why resist? And with that, here's my 11th batch of fascinating Pokemon theories. Many may find certain facets of the Pokemon games odd because of how straightforward things are. For example, did you ever notice that when you talk to NPCs of towns, the conversations are very direct, and that books are only a few sentences long? Or maybe even that towns and areas are connected by very straightforward routes? Well, one theory to explain this is that Pokemon games are simply retellings of a person's memory. The first piece of evidence that supports this hypothesis is that the conversations held with NPCs seem to skip over much of the actual conversing, leaving only the bare minimum of actual information. This could be because the protagonist only remembers a vague retelling of the battles he fought, remembering more of the battle itself rather than the small talk he had with the other trainers. This also explains why in major events we get a lot more text from the opponents, since they were much more memorable. Secondly, the cities and roads seem to be extremely small, possibly because the protagonist is only recalling certain parts of the city he visited for specific purposes, and to set the tone of the area. The routes between cities may be simplifications of the real thing, with only memories of training your Pokemon and catching lifelong partners, rather than mentioning the importance of food rationing and sleeping. While we're on the subject of sleep, this could also explain why you could go the entire game without it. Thirdly, to explain why you can't seem to read a majority of the books on the shelves, some say it's because you only remember the literature being there, but not the actual contents of it. Finally, this theory would also explain why your Pokemon level up and grow fond of you faster than others, since you're skipping multiple parts of your traveling and training, but still remembering a lot of the battles taking place. With all these points being mentioned, a lot of people believe that the games are actually just the player's journey being retold. James from the Pokemon animated series is an interesting character, considering he's never actually caught a Pokemon against its will, but rather befriends them until they begin to trust him. On top of that, his Pokemon always help him, regardless of if he's getting beaten by his opponent. This has led some to speculate that at one point he was a Viridian Forest trainer, since he formed such a close bond with his Pokemon. To add to the theory, we never see Jesse or James go into a Pokemon Center, and they are implied to be too broke to afford potions or other healing items, so how are their Pokemon healed each time? Well, an attribute of a Viridian Forest trainer is that they have natural healing abilities that can restore Pokemon's energy without the use of items. This often leaves them tired, which would explain why Jesse is always the leader of the pair. It's because James doesn't have the energy to take charge after healing their Pokemon. On another note, Abomasnow is a grass and ice type Pokemon from the 4th generation, but this Pokemon is also home to a very popular Pokemon theory going around the web, claiming that its name is actually spelled Abomasnow, and it's the 44th President of the United States in disguise. That's right folks, apparently he's covered in snow in a failed attempt to teach the world about global warming. His eyes are pink from staying up all night working at the White House, which is also another reason why he's in white, to blend in with the outside of the building so he can avoid the press. It also goes without saying that Team Flare represents the Republican Party, because they're dressed in red. In the game, you've seen Team Flare trying to steal Abomasnow in order to help them control the weather, or as Game Freak was implying, the United States. In Pokemon X and Y, Obama is saved by the player's character, but he knows that his second term as president won't last forever, so he gives the player the item necessary to Mega Evolve himself. Obama does this to make sure he'll have power after his second term as president ends. Due to the Mega Evolution, it is clear that Obama will still hold political power in some high place after his term, but it will most likely be due to his increase in weight, since people will be afraid that Obama will sit on them and crush them if he is not elected somewhere else. Okay, stop it right there. Nope, this has gone too far. These are way too stupid. I'm done. Okay, you could get somebody else to finish the video. Nope, I quit. Sorry.
Huh. Well, if no one else wants to do it, then I guess I can cross over and finish this up. theory going around that Mount Moon was the center of a cataclysmic catastrophe in prehistoric times. Let's look at the facts. You as the player find fossils inside of Mount Moon as well as the old amber at the nearby Pewter City Museum. Not only that, but there are notices throughout the city claiming that thieves have been stealing fossils from the mountain, which this indicates that more fossils have been found. So logically, with this many fossilized Pokemon in one location, they must have all been wiped out by some sort of disaster. The people who support this theory tend to fall under one of two ideas. One is that Mount Moon is either a dormant volcano, or the mountain was actually hit by a giant meteor. Those that are on the volcano side think that Pewter City might be all about rocks because of its abundance of igneous rock, which is actually cooled magma. And then there's those that are on the meteor side, which reference the abundance of moonstones that are commonly found on Mount Moon, which are believed to be fragments of meteorites from, well, space. And let's not also forget that it's pretty much accepted that the Cleffa family comes from outer space. However, I'm not a big fan of this theory because if a giant meteor were to smack into the Earth, any Pokemon that may or may not have been riding it would be, you know, dead. So those were a few more fascinating Pokemon theories, and hopefully that'll keep you entertained until the Gamer from Mars decides to make number 12 or 13 or 18 or however long he plans on making these. But anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.